Hello, great people, and welcome to yet another episode of Beyond the Shadows with Pauline Joraita. And as usual, when you see me here, this is Pauline's Quest. This is episode 2. Have you watched episode 1? If you have not, kindly go back and watch the first episode because this story is interesting, I tell you. So as usual, please click that subscription button, press the notification bell because you need to hear this story to the end. So, Pauline, you are welcome.
Thank you very much, Mercy.
Good to have you again.
We thank God.
And it's amazing. It's amazing. Your story is really, really interesting and very many lessons to learn from it. So the last time we were here, we were talking about you moving from Nairobi to Kirinyaga. Back to Ushago.
Yes.
Where people want to comfort themselves, east or west, home is the best. So now, I have a question.
Yes.
Why the transition from Nairobi to Kirinyaga? And you told us that your mom actually got an appointment to start working with the ministry. And of course, those people who work in the government, they are benefits that the family is supposed to accrue when the person dies. So what happened? Why that transition? Why is it that life in terms of finances became difficult for you to adjust? What happened?
Okay, thank you very much for that question, Mercy. And back then, I don't know whether it still happens today. I'm yet to get into that to get to know. But when the cause of death is suicide, there are no benefits.
Wow.
Even if it's a life insurance, they always tell you to. They will always insure deaths that are they call them. You've seen that?
Natural
causes. So they kind of say that a suicide is not a natural cause. You see? So you cannot benefit from you cannot benefit from that.
So zero benefits.
Zero benefits.
Wow.
Zero benefits. And I really commend my mom for making that decision, because how would she have survived with 3 children? There's no benefits. I think that decision of going back to the village, irrespective of what it costs, I think that was a noble move for her to make, so that she can be able to give us the best she could at that time. She had some savings, because that's what helped her to start off life and also build that. I remember I mentioned she built a wooden house with 3 rooms.
Yes.
You remember those houses that are 1 bedroom on this side, 1 bedroom on this side, the sitting room in the middle, the toilets are outside.
The kitchen is also outside.
The kitchen is outside. That is how life started. And the savings that she had back then, her personal savings, is what helped her now to get that small structure and help us to move to Kirinyaga. Well, we were enrolled in the local schools. Because there was not even money to take us to a school that is expensive. It was that bad. The kind of financial distress my family went through after the demise of my dad is unimaginable. That my mom moved to struggling with the basic needs. What are the basic needs? Food, clothing. Something that was never an issue before. And, we moved from an English breakfast, Mercy. In the States, in Cairo, it is that you sit in a dining room, you are served with fruits, cereals, The 2, Mercy, the only thing my mother could afford was porridge. And even buying sugar was a challenge. So it was this porridge with no sugar. So we are moving from that kind of a lifestyle. We were used to buffet. You eat what you want and leave the rest. Now there's no choice.
It's you eat what is available.
You eat what is available. And what was available, Mercy? The local githeri, maize mixed with beans. We are moving from cooking with electric cookers to cooking with firewood. There was no electricity, Mercy. There was no running water. So we are moving from flushing toilets to a pit latrine. I personally remember going to the toilet was horror because you'd feel like you'd even fall in the culture shock.
These are things you had never experienced before.
Never experienced before, right? Even when we used to come for holidays, because we used to come for holidays once in a while, I remember we would stay in Mayfair Hotel, you know. Yes, we'd go to Kirinyaga to see my daddy's parents, but we would stay there a bit and now go back. So I never experienced the kind of life I'm coming to experience here. Now let us go to the school. I've moved from an international school in Manhattan to the local vigil school. I had never known to walk without shoes. So now here I am, a school of about 700 students, my brother and I, wearing shoes. So to fit in, I have to be trained to walk barefoot.
Because now students will even start discriminating you.
Of course, that is what they did. And then here, I remember we've moved from Cairo and I was speaking the Arabic language. So I had to be taught how to speak the American slang. It took 3 months. So when we are coming back to Kirinyaga, I don't know Kikuyu. Back then, before you were born, teachers used to teach in vernacular language, and that was Kikuyu. I didn't know Kikuyu. Right?
Kiswahili is actually a problem.
It is. I didn't know Kikuyu. I didn't know Kiswahili. I only knew my American slang language. So I'm here in the middle of school. I cannot communicate with the others. I'm being bullied. I remember myself being surrounded by students just looking at me like you know, what is this girl saying? Then they're interpreting it different, but that is the only language I know. So I went through a lot of loneliness, a lot of bullying. It really took time to fit in.
Because now you can't make friends. No. You can't have children to play with.
Some are actually feeling like, you don't belong here. What are you doing here? And I have no choice. There's something I'll never forget. Back then, lunch used to be, we used to go home for lunch. So here it is, the January season when the sun is so scorching and the soil is very hot. And we only have 45 minutes or to an hour to run home, eat, and come back. So I remember this time I have to run home barefoot. The burning of the soil.
You're going home crying.
I'm going home crying. And I used to wonder, my goodness, what is this? The worst bit is that all I know is the absence of my father and a difficult life. But I know probably my mom also had her own way of grieving and trying to cope, but we were never taken through any form of counseling.
So you don't even understand like why do we have to go through this life? Why do we have to change schools?
I could not understand. And you know, having been brought up in the American culture, you know them, they are like, you speak, you know, I was very bold.
Yes,
I would ask questions. And I remember asking my mom, what is this? The porridge would be put there. You know, what? Yuck, this is nasty, you know? And my mom would not take it very well. Yeah. And again, I would ask questions. I remember she once told me, I asked her, where did daddy's money go? Why are we so poor?
Wow.
the parents of back then, you ask such a question, you are in trouble.
Serious issues.
I used to get in various. I could see something is wrong, and whatever is wrong is as a result of the absence of my dad.
Nobody has taken time like to explain to you this
No.
is why there are adjustments.
No.
Also, your mom is also dealing with issues of her own.
Yes, the only thing she said, now this is our life. Dad is no longer there. He's not coming anymore. We get used to this. So anything you're given, you must eat. And that is how it is. So, well, it took some time, trying to adjust. The environment was so I remember back then I used to cry myself to sleep every day, missing my dad every day, wondering if he loved us so much. Why did he go? I also remember having trouble with this God. Actually, God has decided to take my father. So I used to wonder, how cruel is God? I'm not getting my good night hugs. You remember I told you we never used to sleep before he gives us a good night hug, a good night peck, either on the forehead or on the cheek. I used to wonder, Yani, this God, how can he remove the only person who loved me, my cheerleader? I had trouble in, loving this God.
No more conversation.
No more conversations. So it's like we had to find our way in life. Guess what it did? Now identity crisis started stepping in. Because of not going through the proper grieving process back then, it resulted to very many things. And that is why I keep saying it's important to don't assume. Yes, I was 9 years, go towards 10. My brother was 12, towards 13. Don't assume kids don't know, because actually the how you handle children's childhood is very important, because most of the decisions they make in adulthood will emanate from what goes on in childhood. I would like to say that that also didn't go very well with me, because I remember also, now when I look at it many years later, I also developed a PTSD, that is post-traumatic stress disorder, as a result of the death of my father and the not going through the grieving process. So I personally went through something they call complicated grieving. And prolonged grieving, which affected a lot of my teenage life coming now to adulthood. And but I thank God that fast forward, we adapted. We now got into the village life, started working working hard, and Mom was able to, she had some land that my dad had, and that's what she used to grow the basics, the bogas and all that. But for my mom, but she tried some few businesses here and there, but she managed to take us to school. We completed school. Basically, most of us, my brother went to high school. He actually even went up to Form 6. I also went to school, and when I was in high school, I think it should have been Form 3, now going to Form 4. One of those holidays, I think because of now having this PTSD, this post-traumatic stress disorder, my relationship with my mom was a bit tough, because we could not understand each other.
Because now you're the girl who is vocal, asking questions.
Yes.
She's also going through a rough patch.
Yes. And and apparently all through, I never knew the cause of death of my father until I was in Form 3. Going to Form 4. But all I knew, my mom, apart from the day she took me to Form 1, reporting day, she never came to see me again.
She was like, I'm done with this girl who keeps asking.
And even if she would have wanted to come, there was no money. So me in high school, I went to a school called Giriambu Girls. Hey, I'm like, people would come with sodas, with, people are visited, with, I never used to have visitors.
And of course, when you go to high school, you're schooling with people of different classes.
Yes.
So it's like the trauma of now the life that you used to
Yes.
enjoy is now like or people are doing it on your face.
Yes.
You cannot afford it.
So this made me miss my dad more, made me grieve even more. I used to cry. Visiting there, I used to go cry, go hide somewhere and just cry my heart out. I'm like, why is this life? You see, if I had not tasted a good life, it would be different.
Yeah,
but
that's
I
true.
knew good life. And I know for sure, any girl who was with me in high school, I know they used to think I'm a very weird person. I used to cry. I used to. So this is Form 3. I'm going to Form 4. The relationship with my mom is still strange. Me, I don't understand my mother. She does not understand me. I'm just at a level where our relationship was a bit strained. And the devil is a liar because I also attempted suicide.